Okay, this is our first stab at JSTOR. JSTOR is a giant database of scholarly journals. These are people who write for universities. They could be professors. They could be grad students. These are people who go to school after they've done their bachelor's degree. Um, so they usually focus on certain topics, and it could be anything from medicine to literature. There are all kinds of journals, types of scholarly journals, and or academic journals, as we call them. Okay, so you can see this list here of all the different types of journals and disciplines, things that we study. There's quite a few. So for this assignment, this research assignment, and for this particular database, because it is so huge, I'm not going to be doing very general searches. So basically, when you get to JSTOR, you need when you the reason why you would want JSTOR is because you already know what you're focusing on. Because going to JSTOR with a very broad topic is not going to be helpful for you. You kind of need to know what you're looking for and what areas. We're going to do a somewhat simple search, just two different concepts put together, but you'll see that you won't want to do general in this database at all. It's just too large, so you need to be able to know where you're going in your research. Um, and you would go here after you've looked at some of the other databases, like we looked at Bloom's for literature, we looked at social issues researcher, and or the history database that we have called ABC Clio. So those were to give you ideas. Now you're going to get a little bit more into the nitty gritty. Okay, so I've already taken on my topic. It's on um, Maya Angelou, and I know why the cage bird sings. However, I am going to show you how to also search for the other two novels on Their Eyes Were Watching God by Hurston and Of Mice and Men. We're going to do all of this in one video. Okay, so let's start. Whenever I'm going to put in a title of a piece of literature or a title of a certain book or even an article you've read, I always put quotes around it because we want to tell the database that we want all of these words to be together. So I'm going to type in Angelou's book. I've already done this search, so that's why it's showing up here already. And then in the second keyword, I'm going to use, because I'm focusing on the trauma that Maya faced as a child in her book, I'm going to use the words domestic abuse. And you'll also see how I use this keyword combination for Their Eyes Were Watching God after I do this search. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You've got a couple of terms going here. You can add a search box. It would just add another one of these lines here. If you have to look up a number of concepts and combine them, that's when you really know exactly what you're doing. But in where I'm focusing on the actual literature, I don't think I need to do that because I've already chosen a good keyword. And so the next thing is you want to make sure that you have this box in content I can access, because JSTOR will give you citations to other things that aren't necessarily available in the database. For instance, let me tell you that if you're looking for very recent articles, all the articles are going to be 2 years or older. So, things like statistics, things that you need for like right now, you would look somewhere else. Okay, the other thing we need to do is narrow the results to articles. I don't want reviews or books at this point or research reports. I just want articles. I think I should change it to just English too. All right, we don't need to do by publication date yet because we don't know what we're going to get yet. That would be, if you've got too many articles to come through, then you might come back here and put a date range. Okay, so now I'm going to look by the journal type, the different disciplines. I'm going to scroll down to language and literature because I still want it through the lens of literature. That's just for me. You may have a different scope or focus. So you could choose whatever discipline that you're going to focus on for your report. Okay, so that's what I want, language and literature, and submit. Okay, so I got 20 results. I'm kind of happy with this. I could always modify the search. Now, one thing I don't like about JSTOR is they don't show what your search was. Usually at the top of a database, they'll show you what words you use, what terms, and like up here somewhere. And then these are all your results. But if you need to see what you did, you go to modify search over here. Okay, and there it is. There's your search again. So I'm just going to hit the to submit again to get back to our results page. Well, that's interesting. We have 38, so I can show you. This is good. I'm able to show you what happens in JSTOR. They don't always keep all of the limitations you put. So let's go back to modify search. All right, so these are still there. Articles are still there. Content I can access is still there. English language. Now, I'll bet you that unchecked the literature and language. Yes, that's what happened. That's why I got 38 instead of the original 20. Okay, so now, by the way, they have another submit button at the very bottom of that list of journals. Okay, so now we're back to the 20. Okay, so I'm looking at these. I'm just looking at the titles, and under here are the summaries of what's in the article. This looks good. Violence in Black Childhood, and her poetry. I like these two. Okay, now we're going to look at they're going to show us Toni Morrison's Bluest Eye. These are similarities. There may be some similarities here. Victimized Daughters. That will be very interesting to me because of I'm focusing on the trauma that Maya faced. Okay, so let's just click on that one just to see what we've got. Okay, so here I just want to show you what the articles look like. Now, I always suggest that you download it, this button over here. And you can cite it. It will tell you how to cite it. So I've shown you this before in other things, but we'll click on it. All right. And here's the MLA. So all you have to do is copy it, put it in your works cited. And once again, you do not want to turn in your works cited page until you have checked your style manual. That would be something for the MLA, whatever your teacher wants you to use for citations and any other writing style items. Follow that. This is just a convenience item. Okay, so you take a few minutes to look at it. I already know that this is going to be good for me. I'm just trying to save time in this video. So I'm going to show you what happens when you download. Okay, you say accept and download. Okay, there it is. This is the whole article. And you can download it and store it on your Google Drive or on the computer. It depends what you need to do. Okay, so I'm going to close. I'm going to leave that alone, actually. All right. There was something else I was going to show you. Oh, yes, up here. See up here where it says access provided by Loyola High School? At all points throughout your searching, when you're sitting on JSTOR, you could be spending an afternoon or morning on this, or even an hour, and you may get up and say, I want to go get a sandwich, or I need to go do something else. I'll come back to this. You could come back to your computer and it still says access provided by Loyola High School. But what usually happens is if it's been some time and you haven't been working on this, uh, JSTOR will actually kick you off and you may not know it. Okay. So you may need to double check, especially if you start clicking and go back to the results page and suddenly things are gone, or you decide to modify a search and you put some terms in and it comes up with nothing or only one thing. That usually means that you are no longer logged in. Okay. So just wanted to give you that warning. All right. And sometimes, usually it does say that if you've been kicked off, it won't say that you're here with Loyola High School, but you should always check. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I told you about this. This is basically what it looks like. And this is the one search example for Maya Angelou. So I'm going to do I'm going to do a search for the other two books by Hurston and Steinbeck. Go back to advanced search. That erases everything we did. Okay, so for we could do of mice and men, since I have it here. Some of the last searches I've done are here on this computer. So I'm going to use of mice and men. I already have my quotes there. I'm going to use isolation because that's what struck me about the book. There's several other things going on in that book as well as the other two books. There are many different themes or topics going on. So content I can access. I want articles. I want English language articles only. And again, I'm looking at it through the lens of literature and language. Okay, so we got 66 results. That's pretty good. There are a lot of people, there are lots of articles on Steinbeck. Um, I'm sure there are just as many for the other two authors, but Steinbeck is a huge part of the American canon, and there's a lot of criticism on his work. So that's why we're probably seeing a lot more. And this notion of alienation. Okay, you can look at the summaries, and that's what I'm doing very quickly. I'm just doing a quick scan. Okay. Gendering men, revisions of violence as a test of manhood. That might be interesting if I were working on this one. So this looks good. Cultural, political, literary contexts. Sometimes you'll just see some words in the titles or in the summary, and it'll make you think, I think I like that. Now, one thing you can do is to go, okay, I like this one. You can make sure that this is going to save for you. Um, you could create your own account just for saving things. It would be like putting them into a folder, but you don't have to do this. You don't have to check these things off. I just wanted to show you what's possible. Okay. Language of survival. That's on another topic. Okay. So again, they, even if it's about another book or work, literary work, in the case of this one, this is a graphic novel. It's called Mouse. It's about the Holocaust. And I actually have a copy, the 2 volume set of this in the library. But it may mention, they may mention something about Steinbeck somewhere in the article. That might be why it's here. Okay, so I'm not going to go into that, but this is why you might see things that don't look like what you expect will be here. Okay, again, I don't have to show you what the articles look like. It'll be the same thing. All right, I'm just showing you that you can get plenty of results here. I'm going to go back to advanced search and we'll do Their Eyes Were Watching God. And I'm going to use the same domestic abuse. So I could actually do, if I wanted to, or if I was required to, a comparison contrast between the two books by Hurston and Angelou. This would be good reason for using the same um, any similarities that are between the book, using keywords for that. Okay, we want English again, and I'm going to go through that same lens of literature. Go to the bottom and click that one. Okay, 82 results. That's easy to comb through. Something about love. Um, okay, these all look like they're, for, as I remember, I believe this book has been on um, banned lists before, probably because of the sexual nature. Um, that's why I use domestic abuse instead of sexual assault, um, because I want to focus on the violence. Not because I like to focus on that, but it seems it's more of it's just a different way of looking at the trauma that these people went through. Anyway, here's the writing about Black authors. So that might also be interesting to me for my topics, especially if I were working on both the books and comparing them. Here's something on characters. Okay, I like this one. I don't know why. I'm just going to check it out. Okay. I'm looking at the paragraphs and making this a little bit bigger before I decide if I want it. You can do things like that. Make it smaller, make it bigger. Okay. You could even go to full screen if you want to. Okay. So anyway, it's going to be up to you on how you decide on using different articles, but let me make that smaller. Okay. So back to results. I want to go back there. Once I'm done looking at that, I don't think I'm going to use that. So you want to make sure you go to back to results so that way you don't lose all of your items that you were searching. Okay. And you could go to modify search and change things. Maybe you wanted to change this to marriage or relationships between partners. I'm going to double check and make sure I have language and literature. Yeah, and it always kicks that off. Why? Not sure. Okay. Power. That's also a good focus. The role of myth, feminine fantasies. Okay. This looks like a very promising article. I would probably just go to download and do that. So I'm not going to do that right now. This is just a video for you. Anyway, we're going to stop here, and I wish you good luck with JSTOR. Remember, you can always reach out to me if you need help with your research. Bye bye.